Hey guys, this is Austin.
And John.
With Walton's TV, and this is Meatgistics. Bacon is as much a staple of the American breakfast, along with eggs, cereal, and toast, and more people are wanting to learn how to make bacon at home without sacrificing taste or quality. Because of its popularity, there's now many different types of bacon. There's beef, chicken, and turkey bacon increasingly available, but classic bacon is just a cured pork belly. If you're wanting to process your own bacon at home, you'll need to find an uncured pork belly. And when picking out and purchasing a fresh pork belly, make sure that it's actually a fresh belly and it doesn't have any salt, cure, or seasoning added, as the amount of salt and cure that we're going to add is going to be an issue if the belly already contains salt or cure. Before we start, remember that all the seasoning, cure, additives, or the additional supplies like the gloves, knives, food-safe containers, and more that we use today can be easily purchased all at one location just by visiting waltonsinc.com. Walton's has everything but the meat.
Most bacon cures that we sell contain nitrites, which break down into nitric oxide gas through the curing process. When injecting or brining bacon, the correct amount of nitrite for bacon is 120 parts per million, and for sodium erythorbate, it's 547 parts per million. However, that changes for a dry rub bacon cure, and it is designed to impart 200 parts per million. When purchasing a bacon cure from Walton's, this is already pre-measured and calculated in our cures and recipes. The amount of salt in the bacon cure also plays a key part in curing the bacon by lowering the water activity and making it inhospitable to damaging microorganisms.
The cure we're going to be using for our dry rub is from Excalibur Seasoning, and it's one of the most popular cures available at waltonsinc.com. It's simply called Dry Rub Bacon Cure. The usage for this is about half a pound of cure to each 10 pounds of pork belly, and we'd also recommend adding some bacon taste booster as well. Use 1 ounce of bacon taste booster per 1 pound of cure. So for a 10 pound belly, we're going to use half a pound of cure and half an ounce of our bacon taste booster. We're going to mix all of this together before we start to rub it onto the bacon, and then we're going to be ready to start our dry rub. We're going to fully coat both sides of the pork belly with our dry rub bacon cure, simply making sure there's no portions that are uncoated. And then the cure is going to penetrate that belly over a period of about 5 to 7 days. Depending on how thick of a belly you're using, the cure will penetrate the belly 1/2 inch to 1 inch each day. So if you have a thin belly that's maybe only about 2 inches, you're going to want to let it sit and rest for about 5 days. But if you have a much thicker belly, then you're going to want to leave it in there for the full 7 days.
Next, we will lay the belly fat side down on the food-safe container. If you have more than one belly, make sure that you stack them fat side to fat side and lean side to lean. If you do not stack them fat to fat and lean to lean, you run the risk of the bellies binding to each other, as there's going to be some osmosis going on. And I'm just going to, like Austin said, coat everything, make sure there's no parts that are uncoated. And I'm going to kind of pat it down in there to just give it a little bit of a head start on its way to the center. I mean, it doesn't need it, but it also does kind of help ensure that it sticks on there. Since this is a larger belly and we do want to stack it something fat to fat, and we only have one, we're going to cut it in half here just as soon as we're done curing it.
Cutting in half is going to help us fit into a meat lug that'll fit into our refrigerator a whole lot easier too.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get that. There you go. You could kind of see most of it sticks right to it. You don't have to worry too much about all of it just falling right off like you would with some rubs. One other point, when we purchased this one was skinned. If you purchase one that has the skin on it, you're going to need to come up with some way to get that skin off. There are kind of two schools of thought on that. Some people like to skin it before they cure and smoke it. And then I've heard people doing it after. They say that the skin browns up real nice and it's real easy. You can almost just peel it off. I don't know if I'd go with that. I think skinning it before is probably the better idea.
I'd do it before, but
yeah.
It's either way is fine.
All right, so we've got all of our cure on there. We're gonna go ahead and cut this in half. Without the skin, it should go through pretty smooth. Yeah, it's a nice sharp cut. And we're gonna put the fat side down, So that means this one, the lean side has to be down. And I'm just gonna quickly scoop up the rest of this because it's a really good tasting cure. I don't wanna lose any. Now we're gonna move these to a refrigerator and let it cure for 5 to 7 days. The cooler should be set to around 32 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure it does not go below 32 degrees. If you do that, the cure will not work properly. We'll be back in about 5 days to pick up with the rinsing and then the smoking. After it's sat for 3 to 5 days, fill a meat lug with clean cold water. Let the bacon sit in the clean water for 20 minutes. Empty the meat lug and fill it up again with more cold water and let it sit for another 20 minutes. This will rinse off any excess salt. If you try to skip this step, you're gonna end up with bacon that is way too salty. You won't even be able to eat it. If you're wanting a less salty product, repeat that step a third time. Next, you want to hang your bacon on 9-inch bacon hangers, making sure that there's sufficient flesh above the hooks to prevent them from ripping through the top of the belly, and then hang them in the smokehouse. The smoking schedule is the same for both pickling and injecting. You're going to want to cook it for 1 hour at 120 degrees with no smoke, then introduce smoke, cook it for another hour at 135, then another hour at 150, and another hour at 165, all of those with smoke. Then you're going to turn off your smoke and cook it at 180 degrees until the internal temperature is 145 degrees. Now you can either cook it to 138 degrees and hold it there for 19 minutes, or cook it to 145 and stop as soon as it gets there. We chose the 145, but 138 for 19 minutes is fine as well. If your smoker has a shower cycle, go ahead and use that. If you don't have a shower cycle, simply spray it with cold water for 20 minutes or fill up a meat lug with ice and water and let it sit in there for 20 minutes, about that, just to bring the core temperature down. Allow the bacon to sit out at room temperature for 2 hours before slicing or packaging it, and there you go. You got yourself some homemade bacon.
As always, subscribe to Walton's TV on YouTube to be the first to know when we release new videos, and remember to tap the bell next to that subscribe button to get notified about each new video. If you like this video or you found it helpful, be sure and click that like button, plus leave us any comments or questions down below. As always, make sure you visit waltonsinc.com or meatgistics.com to find everything but the meat. Thanks for watching. I'm Austin.
And John.
With Walton's TV, and we'll see you guys next time.
Going to cook up some bacon.
Subscribe to Walton's TV to watch more YouTube videos, or shop at waltonsinc.com to find everything but the meat. You can also watch more videos from Walton's TV by clicking here or clicking here.